We are going to go ahead to game 2 of this series between AgntSmashing and Lostin. This is on a map, MLG Testbuck, which is pretty widely used now in both the GSL and the MLG circuits. We have spawning here in the 3 o'clock position the purple Zerg Lostin, and we have spawning up here in the 11 o'clock the yellow Protoss AgntSmashing, who's hopefully going to be doing a lot of smashing. Last game did go to our purple Zerg player down here, Lostin. So to win this series, the Protoss player will have to go ahead and win 2 games in a row. And the Zerg player will only have to take this map. That being said, unfortunately for the Protoss player, I do have to believe that this is a semi-Zerg favored map simply because it is so big. It is favored toward the macro style of play, which definitely isn't AgntSmashing's forte, per se. Now, if we look at the unit production, food, again, relatively even early on. We're going to go ahead and see. This looks like a scouting drone, not an expoing drone. So he is going to scout down here in the bottom left, and then he's going to have to go up here to the third. There are 3 spawning points. There's one here, down here, and over here on this map. So it does give you a bit of difference, though it really doesn't look like it, but this map is actually pretty cylindrical. Pretty symmetrical, just kind of in a triangular way. There are a lot of, it may look like there's a lot of watchtowers, but there's these big destructible rocks around these watchtowers. So you do have to kill these destructible rocks before you can take these watchtowers. These rocks right here as well, these rocks are actually the line of sight limit of the towers. So if you keep your army behind this point or up here behind this point, even if they take this watchtower, they will not be able to spy on you as long as you stay behind these rocks. That is what those rocks are for. It looks like AgntSmashing is opting to get rid of that guy before he can just see if he's going to go 2-gate or if he's going to go Cybernetics Core. Let's go to the production tab here. We do have a Zealot coming out. The food's still relatively even. We do have 2 Zerglings being produced as well. No Overlords, so the Zerg player is going to be supply blocked here. It looks like the Protoss player is actually opting to go for a Cybernetics Core after his Gateway. That is a different style of play than we typically see out of AgntSmashing. He may want to take his Assimilator. He has the minerals for it, and he's probably going to need gas if he is choosing to go for the Stalker type of play. A 4-gate on this map may do decent. Otherwise, if you do go to late game, you're probably going to want to go to Colossus. You could easily see Starport play with the 1 Void Ray or a couple of Void Rays and some Phoenixes. Ooh, this is interesting. It looks like AgntSmashing is going to go ahead and get a Forge. This is also interesting. We have our Zerg player down here in the 9 o'clock. We have our Zerg player down here in about the 9 o'clock taking the expansion, which is actually the 3rd expansion for the Protoss, I would say. So that's an interesting place to Ninja Expo. I might have chosen down here if I was going to Ninja Expo, though he may just be going for some sort of an all-in or heavy rush attack, and this would definitely decrease the rush distance. It's a lot shorter to go from here to here than all the way across the map. But it looks like our Protoss player is going to choose to go for a Forge Fast Expand. Our Zerg player is 5 behind on the food. That's... Oh, I mean, that could be significant. We'll see how that goes on. He's falling farther and farther behind in the food count, which is maybe typical simply because larvae are the limiting factor early game for Zergs. That's why many Zerg players tend to hatchery pretty quickly. If you are going to go for an all-in attack, you could, I mean, with Zerglings, you can easily afford an in-base hatchery. It looks like the Zerg player is going to go ahead and kill these rocks. Yes, he is. He's going to kill these rocks so he can get that watchtower. He will be able to see if the Protoss... He also leaves a Zergling here, which is a very good idea. He leaves a Zergling here so he does know if the Protoss player is going to decide to expand or when he decides to expand. Or even if he's not expanding, he will know when the Protoss player is moving out. I see your probes getting blocked here. An easy way to circumvent that is that if you click on a mineral patch, your probes will actually walk through any units. They'll walk through your or the enemy's units. If your probe is surrounded by enemy probes, you can click on their minerals really quick. He'll drive through the enemies, and then you can walk away. Also, if you do have a block of hold zealots or something, if you click on the mineral patch, your workers will walk through your own zealots. Back to what I was going to talk about. Most Zergs do need to be drone heavy. If we look here, Zerg is behind on probes, probably because he is going for this aggressive attack early on, where he circumvents, I suppose, the long rush distance. But there is a little conundrum with Zerg, is when to and to not drone. That being said, you've seen the Protoss is going to expand, I believe. Let's check here. You have not. So you could have easily sacrificed another Ling just to see what he's doing here. Since he didn't move out to attack, you can probably safely assume he's going to expo. If he is going to be expoing, that's a safe time for a Zerg player to drone. It's a very awful conundrum for Zerg players to get into of when should we drone and when should we make units. And I can guarantee that it's cost a lot of Zerg players games. I mean, it's cost me games before. That being said, it looks like the Zerg player here is committing pretty heavily to the Lings, and he's actually gotten around the food advantages now towards the Zerg. You're going to want to lay some cannons here. Or get some stalkers, or do something with that 650 minerals you have. Ouch, that's not good. If you are going to expo, you probably could have left a zealot or two here and then brought the rest of your army down here. Just make sure they don't get Zerglings surrounded. So maybe that... You do have sentries. You can use your sentries to stop Zerglings, even though they're melee unit. You just put the force field in front of your units and then they can't attack them. Can't really do it with zealots because you want your zealots to attack them as well. You're choosing to retake your expo, which is good. The Zerg player is actually floating a little bit of mins right now. It's not good to float mins. The Zerg player is going layer tech, so we may see Mutas again. We may see him opt for Muta. That seems to be his playstyle. I've only played Lostin a couple of times. Months ago, so I'm sure that his playstyle has improved or changed since then. You didn't need the force field to be... You could have just had your zealots in front of everything else, and they would have acted as a force field of their own. This Void Ray is a good idea, but it's not good to lose your expo twice. It's very negative, as well as the fact that you have 600 minerals built up. You really want to keep your minerals below 500 at all times. The Zerg player is already reacting to the Void Ray because he did have to use it against those Zerglings. He's playing 3 Spore Crawlers, so it's going to be very hard for this one Void Ray to do much of anything down here. He still has this base over here, which is pretty well defended and hasn't even been scouted. The drone counts are still very similar. This is not a typical Zerg play. I don't mean to say anything bad, but this isn't how you want to play Zerg, definitely at all. You're on 2 bases, they're on 1, and he has similar income to you. He can really easily do a timing push and crush you if he's on the same base with the same income as you. Denying his base is good, but you need to be able to know when to drone and when not to drone. You're going to lose your overlords. You should have maybe pulled your overlords back towards there. Or you should have, well, look at, you have 100 energy. You should have laid creep tumors. That's another thing I'd like to see a lot more out of Zerg players, is really laying these creep tumors. He has a second queen on the way, which is going to be very good. He's also attacking them. You need to move. You're going to get, these spore crawlers are going to kill you. I wonder if this Void Ray is going to go down. Nope, that Void Ray is going to go ahead and survive. He has another queen on the way. Those 2 queens are going to be able to hold. You need to wait until that shield regenerates. You really ought to wait until that shield regenerates. This Void Ray is... maybe not. Pretty good micro there, but he is pushing. And since you are, let's look at the APM, since you are spending so much of your APM... Oh, you're going to lose both your Void Rays, which is not good. You have 1 Void Ray, but it's not going to be able to beat any of this. This is not good for you. You have 1,600 minerals built up. That being said, Zerg also has 900 minerals built up and only 52 food. If we go back to the unit count, the Zerg still only has 27 drones. You are at no time were you worried that those Void Rays were going to do damage because you had these Spore Crawlers and there were so little of those Void Rays. You are getting creep tumors now, which is good. And making an extra queen was very good when you do see that air pressure. But you should have built a lot of drones when he was attacking, because you were not in trouble. Now you're even supply blocked because you don't have enough overlords to build anything. You're going to have to pull your Zerglings back here to defeat this, but you should... Well, the Protoss is actually doing a really good job here. This is what I'm saying. If you let the Protoss player have a similar level of income, you're going to lose games that you easily should have won. You should have been so far ahead in the income at this point. And the fact that he has 1,500 minerals built up, and you are on similar income levels, just shows how far ahead the Zerg player really should be. The Zerg player should not be worried about this rush at all. These Lings need to be attacking these Zealots, and you don't really want to be engaging in a choke. This is terrible placement for this evolution chamber. You're not fighting a Zerg player, so you don't need to worry about the Zergling run-bys. You really need to put this evolution chamber somewhere out here. It looks like he is going for Mutaplay. I didn't see that until now. Looks like, oh, is he going to lose the layer? If he loses the layer, this is going to be big. Oh, he did lose the layer, but he has plenty of Mutalisks out, and it looks like these Mutalisks should be able to mop up this Protoss player who's gotten quite sloppy. You still only have 21 probes on one base, and you have full chrono. You should have 30 on one base, so you need a lot more on these minerals, because these do have 3 and 3. You need a lot more workers on these minerals. Zerg player is now doing a lot better. He's doing really bad on his gas. You can pull people off your gas. I usually don't build for gases, but I usually don't go Mutalist, so that's just my thing. I usually don't have to have 4 gas quite that early. The Zerg player is getting ready, or the Protoss player is getting ready for it with Phoenix and Stalkers, which is the proper response. This is a good part of when Sentry Bubble is very good, simply because it affects each one of those bouncing glaives from the Mutalisk. Unfortunately, the Protoss player is very far behind, and he's been having a little macro mismatch here. Carrying 1,000 minerals is not good. That being said, the Zerg player should have never been in the situation he's in, where he's lost his layer, and he's looks like reduced to an all-in, basically. You should have been on your 3rd base, and you should have had a lot more drones. You were so far ahead. You denied his Exmo. You had a larger army. You had Zerglings, which Zergling gives you map control, because anytime they ever move out, you can see it, you can morph in some roaches or something, and then you can surround them with Zerglings and kill them so that they can't escape when you do push them. You really need a drone more. That's what I'm saying, is that the Zerg players do have this awful conundrum of when can I drone and when can I drone, and it costs our Zerg players a lot of trouble and a lot of games, because you either drone too much and you lose because you can't hold a timing push, or you drone too little and you lose from a 1 base timing push. Looks like the Protoss player is going to go ahead and take his 2nd, which is very good. You've hurt, essentially almost destroyed, almost killed the Zerg player. Oh, this is going to hurt. His Stalkers are nowhere near his base. He needs to be microing that. You could micro those Phoenixes. Sentry, bubble, 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 bubble. No bubble. Is this many? Are they? Wow. So it looks like he's going to mop up this force here. He does not have enough units to hold this. The Zerg player is now floating 700 mins, still only 27 drones, hasn't retaken his main. Man, I don't want to say you guys played bad, but I hope this isn't an indicator of your full level of skills. You both have not been doing a great job macroing, nor have you... The Zerg player should have had this game in the bag a long time ago. Let's see. No reason to donate these units, so yes, back off. Continue backing off. Why aren't you continuing to back off? Warp in some more Stalkers. You have plenty of... There you go. You haven't built any more probes. You have this 2nd base, and you haven't built any more probes. And actually, what is more beneficial is to transfer about that many of your probes, or maybe a little bit more, depending on how many you have. Since you only have 17, you do not have a lot. You could transfer some of those probes and then just leave this waypoint of here up on. You have this waypoint.